I was brewing tea when my phone vibrated. A video message from Mrs. Carter, our former neighbor. I hadn't spoken to her in ages. Her name on my screen stirred memories I thought I'd left behind. The message was brief. No greeting, no explanation, just one sentence. "I'm so sorry about your family. I can't believe what I witnessed today." My chest tightened. I opened the video. It showed a chapel, one I recognized. St. Mary's. The same place where they took me for Easter services as a child. The camera focused slowly on two figures at the lectern, my parents. My mother, in black silk and silver earrings, wiping away crocodile tears. My father, rigid and grave, reading from a sheet with unsteady hands. Behind them, a coffin. Next to it, my photograph, enlarged, framed, surrounded by roses. I froze. My father's voice carried through the phone. She was always a difficult child, but we cherished her. We did all we could. My vision blurred. He was delivering a eulogy, my obituary. Though she left this world too soon, we hope her soul finds rest. What? I wasn't dead. I stood in my flat, alive, breathing, trembling. This couldn't be happening. I replayed the video, over and over. Their expressions didn't falter. Their voices held no real sorrow. They were composed, calculated, rehearsed. I clutched the kitchen table. My hands shook uncontrollably. "What is happening?" I muttered. "Why are they doing this?" I hadn't spoken to them in years, not since they cast me out, disowned me like I was a blemish on their legacy. But to stage a funeral? To declare me gone? The more I watched, the colder I felt. My mother spoke of a tragic mishap. There was no mishap. My father described my final years in solitude. I was working, living, enduring. They knew that. They must have. So why? Why were they doing this? I sat down, the phone still playing. The video ended with the camera sweeping over the mourners, distant cousins, old family acquaintances, even my childhood violin teacher. All there, all in black, all believing I was no more, and no one. Not one person had tried to contact me. I watched the video again, ensuring I wasn't hallucinating, but the truth was undeniable. They didn't just forget me, they buried me, alive. In that moment, one thing became certain. This wasn't an error, it was intentional. It wasn't always this way. There was a time I thought family meant safety, devotion. That belief shattered 4 years ago, the day I was discarded like dirt swept under a carpet. The truth? I didn't take the money. It was Sophie, my younger sister, the perfect one, the one who could never err. She siphoned nearly $60,000 from our family's company account. She was careless, addicted to a lifestyle beyond her means. When the accounts didn't balance and the books caught fire, our parents needed a scapegoat. I was the easy choice. I still hear my mother's venomous words in the dining room. Better one ruined daughter than two. My father didn't meet my eyes when he said it. "You disgraced us. You're no longer our daughter." By morning, I was gone. No funds, no explanation to anyone, just silence. I tried calling, messaging. I wrote emails. Nothing. My number was blocked. When I reached out to family friends, they suddenly went silent. One by one, doors that were once open slammed shut. I became a shadow, not just to them, but to everyone who once knew me. Eventually, I did what broken people do. I left. I moved overseas, took a job in a bookstore, changed my number, kept my name quiet. I didn't post online. I barely spoke my identity. But deep down, I clung to hope. Hope that one day someone would reach out, ask if I was okay, say it was all a mistake. That day never came. Instead, something darker arrived. Last year, I tried reactivating an old email account. It wouldn't work. When I contacted support, they said the account was deactivated because the user was reported deceased. My name was marked dead in their system. Officially, digitally, completely. They hadn't just disowned me, they erased me. I couldn't sleep that night. The video looped in my mind. Their voices, their fake sorrow, my face beside a coffin I'd never seen, my own funeral. Without me, something was wrong. So I started investigating. First I called my aunt, Clara, my mother's older sister. We hadn't talked in years, but she used to slip me chocolates at family gatherings. She answered on the third ring. "Hello? Aunt Clara, it's me. It's Lila." Silence, then click. She hung up. I called again, blocked. Next, I tried my cousins. One sent a heart emoji and never replied. Another texted, "Is this some cruel prank?" No one believed I was me except one, my youngest cousin, Ben, the one who idolized me when we were kids. He texted back cautious. "Lila, are you really alive?" "Yes." "I need the truth." What did they tell everyone? The typing bubble lingered. Then they said you died. In a train wreck. Abroad. 4 years ago. My heart sank. They had a whole story. Said it happened while you were traveling. that it was too late to bring you home. Cremation. Closed coffin. I nearly dropped my phone. There had never been a train wreck. I'd never even taken a train overseas. Something inside me broke. I gathered every document I had. Passport, visas, rental agreements, work contracts. I had never been in an accident. I had never gone missing. So I checked the public records online. And there it was. Lila Moreau. Date of death. March 22nd. Cause train accident. Status deceased. Certificate ID. TRXG 8240019. They forged it. They made me legally dead. I stared at the screen, paralyzed. This wasn't mourning. This wasn't denial. This was a cover-up. But what were they hiding that was worth burying me alive? I should have stopped searching. But when you learn your family buried you alive, you need to know why. I found my answer in a place I hadn't checked in years. Sophie's Instagram. She'd gone public again, and there it was. A dazzling array of photos. Red roses, wine fountains, a diamond as big as a star. Sophie's wedding. Everyone was there. Aunt Clara, beaming like she hadn't hung up on me. My cousins, toasting. Even great Aunt Marie, who lived abroad and never attended anything. But not me. Not one mention. Not one photo. Not even a wish Lila could have been here caption. I was erased until I looked closer. In one photo, taken at the reception, a speech was underway. A toast. Her husband stood grinning, and next to him, my father, holding a champagne flute speaking into a mic, smiling, under the caption, "To the one daughter who always made us proud." And there it was, the replacement. Not just forgotten, replaced. Curious, I checked the family business registry. A few clicks, and my blood ran cold. The trust fund my grandparents left for me, for education, for my future, was transferred to Sophie 8 months after my death. Legally, silently, she didn't grieve me. She profited from me. I stared at her radiant face, white gown glowing in the light, and it hit me. My sister didn't just replace me, she erased me. Enough was enough. If they wanted me dead, they were about to see how alive I was. The next day, I walked into a law office with a pile of documents and a fire in my soul. Visa records, job contracts, tax records, lease papers, flight itineraries, proof, ironclad, unforgivable. The attorney across the desk looked stunned. "You're contesting your own death?" I slid the forged certificate across the table. "I'm not dead, but I'm ready to haunt them." He blinked, nodded slowly. "Then we'll file a fraud complaint and a motion to reverse the death declaration. It'll take time, but—" "I don't have time," I interrupted, "because apparently I have a memorial this Saturday at St. Mary's." He looked up. I didn't waver. That morning, a text came from an unknown number. One line. "They're holding a memorial for you this Saturday at St. Mary's." No name, no details. But I knew the chapel, I knew the address. It was real. And so was my plan. I stood at the window of my flat that night. The city lights sparkled below like embers waiting for a spark. They dressed me in lies, buried me in silence, pretended I never existed. But now I had a platform. Let them mourn, let them weep, let them perform. And when the curtain rises, let's give them a funeral to remember. St. Mary's had never been so crowded. Cars packed the street like a procession of sorrow. The chapel's heavy doors stood open just long enough to admit mourners in black, sobbing, murmuring, embracing like tragedy had struck them personally. I watched from across the road, dark coat, sunglasses, motionless, invisible. It was surreal, like watching a play about a character who resembled me, sounded like me, but wasn't me at all. Inside, the show had started. The organ played a slow, mournful tune. Candles glowed beneath my photo, the same one they used for the fake obituary. I remembered when it was taken. I was genuinely happy then. My father stood at the lectern, face grave, voice just loud enough to carry. She was troubled, but we loved her. She lost her path, and though we couldn't reach her, we never stopped hoping she'd return to us. My mother sat in the front row, dabbing tears with a silk handkerchief like she'd rehearsed for months. Her sobs were soft, perfect, and Sophie. She stood nearby, clutching her earrings like they held her together. My sister Lila was complex, but she was mine. I wish I could have said farewell. A lie wrapped in a tear, tied with a ribbon. I stepped closer to the doors, just close enough to hear. The priest raised his hand solemnly. "May she rest in peace." I exhaled slowly. Not yet. The performance was still unfolding, but the star hadn't arrived. Let us now stand for a moment of silence. The priest's voice echoed through the chapel like a final bow. Everyone stood, heads bowed, eyes closed, hands clasped over hearts. And in that hushed pause, I pushed open the doors. The sound was sharp, intentional. 2 heavy wooden doors creaking open like a vault splitting apart. The cold light from outside flooded the chapel, spilling down the aisle like a spotlight, and I stepped into it slowly, deliberately. Each heel strike on the stone floor echoed like a drumbeat. Click, click, dot, click. The silence shattered. Gasps. A few heads turned, then more. Whispers spread like wildfire. Is that? It can't be. A child's voice cut through the tension. Mom? Isn't that her? I removed my sunglasses. Eyes met mine. Wide. Disbelieving, afraid. My mother's face went white. Her lips quivered. Then she collapsed. A dramatic staged faint. Her body fell like she'd practiced it. My father's jaw dropped, his water glass slipping from his hand. It shattered against the bench. Sophie. Sophie locked eyes with me and froze. Her jaw tightened, her earrings twisting in her grip. A half-full glass of wine spilled from her hand, splashing across her pristine white shoes. The priest, stunned, stepped back. I kept walking. Every eye in the chapel followed my steps like they weren't sure if they were seeing a ghost or a reckoning. And maybe I was both. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. My presence was the storm after the lie, the consequence they hoped would never arrive. By the time I reached the front of the aisle, the room was breathless. I turned, faced them all, and smiled. Let the truth begin. I stood at the front of the chapel beneath my own portrait. The same photo they used to mourn me, to bury me. I turned to the crowd, dozens of eyes staring like I'd risen from the grave. Good. Let them stare. I cleared my throat and spoke into the silence. I heard I was gone, but I'm here to set the record straight. A murmur rippled through the room. No one moved. Some held phones but forgot to blink, let alone record. There was no train wreck, no tragic accident abroad, no closed coffin because the body was unrecognizable. I pulled a folder from my coat, thick, sealed, with official stamps and global dates. These are my visa records, my work contracts, tax filings, rental agreements. I've been alive, I've been working, I've been surviving. The only thing I lost was them. I turned to my parents. They told the world I was gone, forged the documents, filed a certificate, and when I was legally erased, I turned my eyes to Sophie, who stood frozen, fingers clutching her earrings. They transferred everything to her, my trust fund, my inheritance, my life. Sophie opened her mouth, tried to speak. I didn't let her. Don't. Enjoy the estate you bought with my money. A rumble rose like a storm. Behind me, someone whispered, "She's got evidence." Another gasped. Then a phone lifted, red dot blinking. Someone was recording. Good. Let the world see this funeral for what it was, not a goodbye, a cover-up. "You didn't lose a daughter," I said, staring my father down. "You discarded her. And now you get to watch her return." The lies were dust, and I had just struck the match. I turned back one last time. My father's face was ashen, my mother still trembling in her seat. Sophie, hollow, defeated, no earrings to clutch now. "You buried me to protect yourselves," I said calmly. "But I came back, to haunt you with the truth." No more shouting, no more lies, just silence, heavy, final. As I walked out, the chapel bells began to toll. How fitting, a funeral bell, but this time, not for me. Montage. I handed the documents to my lawyer, signed the final page, watched the death certificate get shredded. My legal resurrection was complete, an investigation launched into fraud, false reporting, and theft. Let them try to lie now. Voiceover, calm and steady. Sometimes you have to die in their world to be reborn in your own, and this time, I wasn't coming back for forgiveness. I was coming back for freedom.